You're listening to the Nutmeg Theory Football Podcast.
Beckham! That's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant from Messi. Oh, what a goal that is! Balotelli, Aguero!
Welcome to another edition of the Nutmeg Theory. I'm Adam Zorzi, and joining me once again is Rocky, Ilija, and Jono. Tonight we'll assess the result at the Allianz between Bayern Munich and Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League semi-final second leg. We look ahead to Chelsea Atletico Madrid, plus the aftermath of a pivotal weekend in the Barclays Premier League. We'll kick things off in Germany though, where the defending European champions hosted Real Madrid, who were chasing their 10th Champions League title. It ended 5-0 to Real on aggregate, Carlo Ancelotti's side running away with it in the end. Boys, what do we make of this one?
What I saw this morning with Real Madrid's performance, it was executed very well. The way they like to play, everything turned out spot on for them. The coaching was great. Your typical set-piece goals that Real Madrid are known for. You had the Ronaldo free kick at the end and the fast break goal for the 3-0. It was definitely a great performance from them.
Yeah, well, we've been saying for about a month now that Bayern Munich haven't been playing very well defensively, and it just proves that you can't just flick a switch in big games. They haven't really had much competition in the Bundesliga the last probably eight weeks. So this just proves that they haven't been in very good form, and Madrid were the better team over 2 legs.
I think it's interesting that Bayern lost the same way that Barcelona lost last season. Real Madrid played Bayern's game. I think Pep played his Barcelona style with Bayern Munich. It just didn't work, his tiki-taka style, and I think tonight was pretty much, in my opinion, the death of it.
But how come it works early in the year and not now? Why, has he modified it against the better teams, or?
Oh yeah, I don't think Bayern Munich have the personnel to execute that against better opposition and better defensive players.
They're more direct players.
They are more direct. I mean, they're okay. I don't think I saw Robin cut in and shoot on his left.
No, not like you.
I think I saw him do it once over 2 legs.
It's like he's been told to cut in and pass.
Exactly, that's exactly it. Guardiola's come in and he's changed the dynamic of this side and their mentality. They don't break. They don't put balls in the box. Their first thought is we need to hold possession. So you've got guys like Ribery and Robin who love attacking plays, running into the box, but now they're thinking about passing it centrally. It's not their game.
But what's funny is they've broken the record for the most amount of goals in a Bundesliga season. So they're scoring goals, but going back to what you said, against the better teams, if you look through the Champions League, their record hasn't been very good against the better teams. Like against United, they struggled. Even against City, they lost at home. They haven't really shown that style has come up against the better teams. But in Bundesliga, the teams are weaker. So
maybe that's an indication where the Bundesliga is.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe you don't win a league with 9 or 10 rounds to go if it's a competitive league. So they've been switched off, like you said before. They've been switched off.
They haven't been challenged.
No, they haven't.
So, the last 2 months, they've probably been relaxed. That fighting spirit has probably faded away from winning the title.
If Bayern Munich beat Dortmund in the cup and they win the double, is that a bad season?
No, it's a successful season for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, but we're talking about semi-final loss in the
exactly.
Champions League.
Against a good team.
Against Real Madrid.
Yeah, against a good team.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
And I'm saying it again, Real Madrid's execution this morning was perfect.
It was the perfect game plan from Ancelotti.
Exactly.
Absolutely perfect.
Unfortunately, Bayern Munich has come up against a brick wall this morning. Like, there was nothing they could have done. And you can blame the players' execution of the tactics. You can blame Guardiola's tiki-taka, but
I mean, at the end of the day,
they just weren't sharp. They weren't sharp.
I'm going to give the credit to Real Madrid just
I agree.
having
great
performance.
The first 2 goals from Madrid, the 2 headers from Ramos, you can't say that Pep Guardiola was the reason they conceded those 2 goals. I think in the first goal you had 3 players mark Ronaldo, and you had Ramos come in from behind, open header. The second goal, the same deal. Ronaldo was double marked in the box. They had Mandzukic on Ramos. Like 1-on-1, 2 free headers. That's something that, it's not Pep Guardiola's fault. It's the players on the pitch that should be...
The leadership on the field.
That's exactly right.
But the players that you should be marking are Ramos, Pepe, coming in
That's
for
right.
the corners and the free kicks.
100%,
Not
100%. They kept the line was too high. They kept a high line, and these players, Ramos was literally free and ran on. It was a great header. It was a good header.
Oh, brilliant!
But he was
finish.
He was a lone ranger out there.
If you give away the ball in midfield with those front players on the counter attack,
Yeah.
Well, that was
they're ruthless.
That was how they conceded their third goal just before half time because they committed players forward, lost possession, and Bale and Ronaldo just tore them to bits straight down the middle.
Geez, Bale has been good.
He's
got harsh criticism when he had that lean spell in the middle, but if you look overall, he's been worth every cent.
Absolutely.
If they go on and win the Champions League and they've won the cup already, and they're still pushing for the league title,
for the first time in the last 5 years, you could say money well spent for Real Madrid.
Well, this is what he wanted. He wanted to win trophies.
Yeah.
And they've been fighting for this 10th title in the Champions League for many years now.
And David Zrilic on the World Game this morning was saying that the atmosphere, like in the dressing rooms, the players have like matured. He also mentioned that under Mourinho they've been like sort of bullies, especially against all the games against Barca. You know, throwing crazy challenges and always the scuffles at half times and at the end of the game. They look more mature. Everything seems to be gelling. You know what I mean? Like
they're a happy team.
It's like their mind's more football than all the other stuff now.
And you've got Zidane on the bench. I mean, how motivating is that?
Yeah. Calm influence as well.
Yeah, it's a very professional team at the moment.
Ancelotti's just he's a bit different to their old coach in Mourinho.
Is Ancelotti the difference between Real Madrid this season and last season?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. He's calm. His game style suits the players that he has.
What did you make of the lineup today? It was probably the most attacking lineup they probably could have put out there.
I like the fact that that's their lineup they've had most of the year.
Yeah.
And he didn't change it.
Yeah.
And I like that. I don't like teams when they have to change to adapt to other teams. I like teams that stick to what they do best.
And it was a very attacking team with Modric, Di Maria in the midfield.
And they've got pace in there.
They do a lot
Di
of
Maria's
pace.
fast.
A lot of pace.
It's a shame that Alonso missed the final.
I don't think you can judge Pep Guardiola's coaching just on this game. Fair enough, Real Madrid, they were very good over both legs.
It's his first year in charge.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's brought the Barca game to Bayern Munich.
Well,
I don't think he has.
One of the biggest criticisms about Pep Guardiola's style in Germany and with Bayern Munich is he's brought that tiki-taka mentality, the way Barca's played over the last 4 or 5 seasons, to Bayern Munich, and a lot of people say that hasn't worked, it's outdated. What do you guys think about that?
I think Bayern were very similar last season in their
Controlling games.
Yeah, exactly. You know, controlling most of the possession.
Tiki taka, you pass. It's a lot of passing, but it's a way of defending as well. It's their way of defending. While they've got the ball, the other team doesn't have the ball.
Well,
what I mean?
they had
I
75% possession this morning, no shots on target. So clearly, it doesn't work.
But people have been criticising Pep Guardiola's...
The tiki-taka works, it's just when it gets to the final third, they need to have a more cutting edge.
Say that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. It works, the possession game, and then execution.
It works,
fail.
but it works probably 5 out of 10 times. It's got to be executed perfectly for it to work.
Does Bayern Munich have the players to execute it?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Of course they do.
Of
Of course they do.
They do, but last night's game they were lacking a lot of
You've got to remember,
aggression.
Ribery's only been back for 2 or 3 games now. He was injured for about 8 weeks, so he's not as sharp as what he was. Pep Guardiola's best friend passed away, so how flat was he? The play it might have drifted onto the players. Do you know what I mean? Because Bayern Munich didn't really look up for it. They were flat. They didn't look sharp. They're kind of second best, really.
Look,
I don't know if you disagree.
They
or
both
agree.
had the same amount of shots on target. I mean, one more to Real Madrid.
Do we think it's a consequence of, like I said before, Bayern Munich just winning the league so long ago, being switched
foot off
off
the
and
pedal.
unmotivated for so long,
Yeah, it's definitely played a part.
and they can't just get up for a one-off?
I think that's what's happened this morning. I think you're right. I think you're spot on with that. That's my feeling anyways. Like you said, there's no fight. They've been sort of lacking that aggression, that fighting,
The sharpness.
form. And like I said, again, they come up against a great Real Madrid team this morning. That, everything that went well for them.
Plus, let's not forget, Real Madrid have gone through how many coaches in 10 years just to get this. They want this Champions League title.
It's taken them 13 different
They're
coaches.
hungry. They're more hungry than Bayern are.
Yeah, they're talking about La Decima, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Winning their 10th
Yeah.
European major title.
And
And
this-
once again...
Well, they haven't got there yet.
No, they haven't got there yet. And I'm going to say, once again this year, it's not going to be a back-to-back winner.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the curse continues.
So you've also got to remember that Bayern Munich has played in the last 2 finals.
Yeah, the one that lost to Chelsea.
And the year before that, Barca played that one. But the year before that, they lost to Inter in the final. So in the last 5 years, they've been in 3 finals.
Possibly the most... Well, over the last 5 years.
I mean, they've only won
possibly the most
one,
successful team.
but they've been in 3 finals. Like, they're a successful team. There's nothing...
They almost reflect the German national team.
Yeah, well, there you
could
go.
say that.
I think that Goetze should have started.
In place of...
He's the type of player that... Kroos, I reckon. He's the type of player that can put a ball through or cut a defence open. He's got that Spanish sort of style, whereas Kroos is more of an English style crossfield balls, like more longer balls, whereas Goetze is good with that little
Bit more
short...
finesse.
Yeah, a bit more finesse, and he's got that Iniesta type pass
does.
to his game, where Kroos doesn't. Schweinsteiger is more of a defensive midfield role, like a deep line sort of playmaker. So I think Goetze wasn't... for 37 million, you'd think he'd play in a game like this.
I thought Mandzukic was pretty quiet this morning as well.
But did Mandzukic get any good
And that's
balls
what
or
I'm saying.
service?
No. Should Pep have maybe played Muller instead? Because Muller
more
tends to drop
mobile.
a bit deeper,
more mobile.
rather than have a
See, Mandzukic is there for that outlet ball where you can put a cross in or something, but they didn't do it.
exactly. But
Like-
they don't play that
No,
style.
that's
so I mean,
right.
So he
Mandzukic doesn't
shouldn't be
suit
there.
Pep Guardiola's style
No,
of
he shouldn't be
play.
there.
Okay, well, moving our attention now to Stamford Bridge in the other semi-final. We've got Atletico Madrid taking on Chelsea. How do we see this one playing out?
I can see it being a tight first half. Like, I don't think both teams will want to concede first. Like, the first goal for either team's crucial because I think both teams will be hard to break down. Atletico, I think, will be the more counter-attacking team. Chelsea should be the one bossing the game, I think, like at home.
So I think Atletico will sit back.
I think Atletico will be the team that sits back and counters. It'll be more of the reverse of the first leg, but I think not as extreme as what Chelsea were defensively. I think Chelsea will come out a little bit more, especially with those players back in the lineup.
And being at home.
Yeah, better home.
Being at home, they can't...
But still be defensively and mindful of the
So you
counter-attack.
think that Hazard's going to play?
I think Hazard will
Terry's
start,
gonna play.
and Terry will start, and I think Eto'o will start. But yeah, like it'll be a tight struggle for most of the game. I think there won't be many goals. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to extra time.
I don't think Chelsea want that, though. What do you reckon? I mean...
Or it becomes desperate then, doesn't it? Because if
Yeah.
they concede a goal in extra time, then...
I don't think they want it to go to penalties either.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you, I can see Chelsea playing a similar, maybe not to the extent they did at the weekend against Liverpool and against Atletico in the first leg, but I can see them sitting back, waiting for
Absorbing pressure.
pressure, letting Atletico come to them, and then breaking on the counter. I mean, Willian will be playing; he'll start. Hazard, we're hearing, is going to be right
Well,
to play.
if he doesn't start, he'll come on second half, but it'll probably be Schürrle to start instead of Hazard.
Looks like it'll be a Ramirez, Oscar, Hazard midfield, and David Luiz as well, I think.
Luiz, yeah. Remember Matic is cup tied as well, so he won't be there as well.
I think that you're exactly right. I think they'll mimic the Liverpool game in the Premier League earlier in the week and just sit back and just hit Atletico on the counter.
How does Atletico win this game? What do they? If you're Diego Simeone, how do you set up your team to win this game?
I was just going to mention that I think, first of all, Atletico Madrid looking at Chelsea and all the studying that they do pre-game, that Liverpool game is obviously something that they would have looked at. And they could possibly go 2 ways. They could, one, try and get the away goal, just fight hard. But then, looking at what happened to Liverpool, they might be feared to play that because they'll go, well, hang on, this might actually work into Chelsea's favour. So it's hard to see. It's hard to predict it right now and talk about it.
Keep it tight and work off set
I
pieces.
think Atletico is going to have to pressure high up the field, in my opinion. Try to press them high, win the ball back high up the field instead of getting the ball into fans and then having to build up all the time. I think they're going to try to have to win the ball back high up off the holding mids or the defenders and then quickly get them like that.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be able to have the slow build up because Chelsea will just put numbers back.
If that's the way they go about it and they win the ball high up, I think they got to be more aggressive, more certain with their passes. Don't try and then pass it back, hold the possession, because that'll work in Chelsea's favour again.
You need that's why you need Villa and Costa to make runs in.
If they're going to pressure the defence, if they're going to pressure Chelsea's midfield and win the ball back, they have to be ready to strike then and there.
They're definitely capable of doing that, because they've done it to Barcelona 5 times. They've done it to Real Madrid as well. So they're capable of doing it. Whether they bring it on the day, time will tell.
And they've been pretty attacking all year, and at the same time, it's been really hard to break down. Atletico Madrid has got
They've got a very good balance.
Yeah,
Very
good balance this season.
Because their midfielders work both ways. They're able to push forward and they're able to drop back quickly as well. Chelsea isn't the quickest ball moving team in the world, so that it's going to be a tough struggle. I think.
What I would like to see is Atletico get the early goal. I want to see what Chelsea do.
Make a game of it.
How they react then. Because I have no doubt that they will sit back a bit as well, be conservative. The away goal for Atletico Madrid, if that comes.
Well, Chelsea seemed happy with the result in the first game, but
this is the danger.
It's a dangerous result.
If you're Jose Mourinho, how do you approach this game?
Well, he needs a balance as well.
Well, we all know we can't. We can't.
The last 2 games I've seen of Chelsea, I haven't seen any attacking Chelsea. I've seen just sitting back. So I can't remember the last time I saw a Chelsea game where they actually attacked. Yeah, they've had 2 games, Atletico and Liverpool game, and they've looked very, very good defensively.
Well, I'll tell
Nothing
you
going forward, but the game before that they played against Sunderland and they lost at home, and they looked like they had no idea how to attack because they've been so used to just defending. They didn't know how to attack.
Looking at Chelsea's games throughout the season against weaker opposition, they play a bit more attacking, and that's when they've sometimes dropped points. But when it comes to the big games, let's say Liverpool, Man City or the bigger teams, that's when Mourinho steps in and plays that mind game, plays that defensive tactic. I mean, why doesn't he do it all season? If it works against the best teams, why not do it against the weak teams? Catch them on the counter. So it's very strange. I don't understand.
The weaker teams aren't as good in possession.
I don't understand how he approaches every game, but we know against the big games what he does, and it works. So
It does work.
He's a good motivator as well.
Having said that, who do we think's going through?
I'm going to predict a Chelsea 2-0 win. I think they'll score.
And how do you think they'll do it?
I think they'll score in the first half, and I think they'll score in the second half. Atletico will have to push to get the equaliser, and I think Chelsea will get them on the break in the second half.
A set piece goal, corner, something like that?
It could be a counter attack, could be a set piece.
I can see an Ivanovic Terry header.
Nothing will work.
Nothing fancy.
It would be just a scrap or something. So I'm predicting a 2-0 Chelsea win.
Talking to some Chelsea fans today, though, they're very. They don't feel confident, and I don't know why.
Well, it's in the balance. It's still in the balance.
It is.
No one goes in with the edge here.
It is, but this is the game where they should feel confident.
If I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be very confident going into this game. I mean, seeing what the side did in the first leg at the Caldron, seeing what they did at Anfield, I'd be very confident going into this game. I don't think they'll play as defensive.
Both games were away, but now they're at home.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be even more confident.
Yeah, but now they're going to have to change their style a little bit.
Do they?
Yeah. They can't play the same way. The fans will boo them.
Oh, if you're a Chelsea fan and someone said to you could play in the Champions League final against Real Madrid,
if you pay money to go watch your team to get owned and bossed, the other team have 70% possession and you just sit back.
Okay,
I think they'll be jeering and booing. Away from home, it doesn't matter.
If that's the case, then why Stamford Bridge sold out every week? Well, every second week for home games? Because Chelsea haven't only just been doing this last 2 weeks.
Actually, looking at the performance against Liverpool, I don't think that would have been the case if it was a Chelsea home game.
No.
And it seems to be that's how he likes to play away. But you're right, when he does play at home, they can't play the same.
They can't.
Yeah, they can't. I don't think you're right. The fans.
Your fans don't pay money to watch that.
Yeah, but he's well within his rights to.
He can do what he wants, but I don't think
he approaches a team with tactics that he thinks will overcome the opposition tactics, and it works.
Yeah, but can you see him selling for 30% possession at home?
Okay, well, they did it against Manchester City earlier in the year. Chelsea did the exact same thing.
I don't think he can afford to sit back as much against Atletico Madrid because he will be punished. He will be punished.
You have to remember, for Chelsea to get to the final, they need to score a goal.
No, that's right.
Like at Liverpool, they were happy with the 0 draw, and Atletico, they wanted the 0 draw. But they have to score. They have to score a goal.
Right. That's right, and that's exactly.
And the longer it goes on, the better it is for Atletico because if they pinch a goal, Chelsea need 2.
That's right.
So Chelsea need to score first. in my opinion.
Don't forget that this is an expensive squad. It's a squad full of very good attacking players. They've bought into Mourinho's game plan for these one-off games where they play defensive, but they've got guys like Hazard, Willian, Oscar can come off the bench, Bars in goal-scoring form at the moment, Schürrle. They've got guys like David Luiz who can push forward from the midfield. They can score goals.
And in comparison, you look at Atletico Madrid's team, and their highest transfer in the off-season was 6 million, David Villa. So the money difference between both teams is huge. Chelsea have a $58 million man sitting on the bench.
So Chelsea are very capable.
Chelsea should be the ones
some goals.
dictating what happens here. They should be the ones, but seeing Mourinho the way he's been going, I don't know what to expect.
Whatever it takes tomorrow, if they do turn out to play an ugly game and go through, I think the fans will still be happy to go.
Yeah,
through.
of course.
Because it's still getting the job done. But
do you think they'll get the job done?
I think it'd be ironic if it goes to penalties, and Courtois is the one that knocks them out. But for the showpiece, I'd love to see a Chelsea Real final, just for the Ancelotti versus Mourinho. Nah, not for me. I think Chelsea have a better chance of beating Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Just for the Mourinho versus Ancelotti, my old team versus your old team, blah blah blah. I think that'll be.
And we haven't seen a Madrid-Chelsea game for years.
Nah, that's right.
I don't think we've seen one in the last 7-8 years.
It's better for UEFA. It's better for the Premier League. If you have
the neutral,
that's right. If you absolutely, because of the build-up and all the mind games that Mourinho will probably play, or he might not even turn up to any press conference. I wouldn't be surprised. It'll be better for the neutral. But if you have two Spanish teams, then look, that's good for La Liga.
Well, last year there was two German teams, and I don't think it was as exciting as what it is.
I don't. Yeah, you're right. I don't really like the same nations in the final. I think it'll be a more exciting Chelsea Real Madrid.
So look, Chelsea Real final for me, but I wouldn't be surprised. 87th, 88th scrappy Atletico goal tomorrow. I really wouldn't be surprised.
We'll switch our attention now to the Barclays Premier League, to the big one at Anfield, where top of the table Liverpool hosted Chelsea. A point would have proved enough for the Reds to secure their first title since 1990. It ended, however, with a 2-0 victory to the visitors, keeping the title race alive.
After watching this game, I was just thinking of one guy, and that was Steven Gerrard. I was devastated for the poor bastard.
I love it. The trophy.
Yeah, no, look. I mean, of all players, yes, it was a slip. Slips happen, whatever. But of all players, and you could tell that he was sort of trying to redeem himself by just literally having shots from everywhere. He was having pings from everywhere.
About 4 pings from 30. But they couldn't break down the back four. So, the shots weren't that bad. He forced a few saves and got a corner.
He was forced to play that way from tactics.
Which is funny. Every corner that Liverpool had, Chelsea got ahead to it first. Every time. They had about 10 corners, and every time Chelsea were first to it. They were just more desperate.
They were desperate.
Chelsea just scrapped, desperate. They were structured well.
What were they desperate for?
They were just more hungry.
Yeah. The other thing that was really confusing me was in the first half with the time-wasting tactics. What happened to the time-wasting yellow cards?
Well, there was a yellow card given in the second half.
Yeah, but 90th minute it was given.
But this is a very big game. It could potentially decide whether the title's going to go to Anfield or not. A referee in that situation is not going to be giving out cards for time wasting in the first half.
He should be. What does the rule book say?
You don't see it, but how often do we see it?
What does it matter?
No one does it.
No one does it.
Exactly.
Okay, it's just like a penalty call in the 80th minute compared to the 13th minute.
Yeah, I understand that.
Let me ask you a question. Mark Schwarzer, it takes 5 hours to take a goal kick, right? If you give him a yellow card, he will not do it again.
Exactly.
Correct?
Right.
If you give him time and you keep pointing to your watch and you say, extra time, he just keeps doing it and doing it and doing it. You got to put a stop to it. The only way to put a stop to it is to give a card, because if he does it again, you can get a red card. So I think the referee didn't insert himself early on in the game. He let it go. He can't just start giving cards in the 30th minute. It had to be from the start of the game. I got no problem with Chelsea's game plan. The game plan was executed perfectly. It's the anti-football stuff I didn't like. That's why I call it anti-football, because you got the slowing down of the thing. Every player milking, I got cramp. Every second player was going out with cramp.
1 minute, hang on, I'll take the throw in. No, I'll put the ball down. This guy will take
It's like they had a plan on to drop at the same time. Like both centre backs, I saw one instance both dropped down to the ground and were holding their leg for nothing. Nothing happened. Like it was a ploy, and that's the side of Mourinho I do not like, because that's instructions from him.
Well, it worked because he got the Liverpool players offside.
It did.
And the fans.
It took him off.
And the fans, he quieted down.
That's
Like,
right.
the cop were quiet for
It took them
60% of that game.
At one stage, the crowd was singing "Boring Chelsea, boring Chelsea." At one stage, I think it got Liverpool off their game and they were distracted.
Absolutely.
They couldn't do what they would normally do, and also it is very hard to break down a team with a lot of players behind the ball. It's difficult. It is difficult. Everybody is saying how good the young centre back played, Callas. He was protected all game. He had guys in front of him. He had guys around him. He had guys.
That's right.
If he was left stranded, which never happened in the game, I would have liked to seen that. But the fact that he had protection the whole game, I never actually got to see him at his defensive capabilities.
This is a Liverpool side that hasn't lost a game since, January?
This is the first game this season that a team's done that to Liverpool in terms of structurally defensively.
Exactly.
No,
So
every team that's come there, City, Arsenal,
Well, they've let them play their own
They
game.
let them play.
well, that's exactly right.
There's nothing wrong with what Chelsea did. It's just the antics side of it I don't like. The sportsmanship, the gamesmanship, all that kind of stuff.
Well-
Nothing wrong with the way they played. You're allowed to defend. There's no rule saying you can't have 20 players in the box. It's just the other stuff I don't like.
It's
And,
just-
and that made it more of a... It was a bad spectacle and it was a miserable game to watch. As a neutral.
It's just a blueprint now for,
Yeah.
teams to how to beat Liverpool. I mean, it's...
I think, fair enough, Mourinho has given them the instructions on how to play that game defensively. But I think more credit is deserved to the players for executing it
Absolutely.
so well.
Yeah.
And that's
a lot
my
of
point.
a lot of guys in the media, a lot of sports journalists keep crediting Mourinho, but I think the players deserve it more. I think any coach can turn around and say to his team, "Can you play like this?" and execute it. It's got to be executed by the players.
People say when weak teams park the bus against the better teams, how come that doesn't work? How come Chelsea can do it so well? Well, at the end of the day, you've got central defenders and midfielders that are on high wages, and they're better defenders. So tactically, they're better footballers. Do you know what I mean? Like when you got not as good players trying to do it, it doesn't work. But when you got top quality defenders, top quality midfielders, top quality coach implementing the system, it's harder to break down against poor teams.
I don't think any team on that day could have broken down
And
Chelsea.
and you said that
Yeah.
Chelsea got the game plan right. If Chelsea had to go in the game to win the game, playing normal, it would have been a different story. But they went there for the nil or draw.
What gets
They
me is-
went there for the draw.
But hang on. Liverpool needed a point. A win, yes, or a point, and that would have been sweet. Why didn't they just employ some time-waste tactics of their own? Or sit back and, as well as Chelsea, beautiful.
Well, they know
Let Chelsea
that.
come to them.
That's exactly right. Just sit back and adapt the same tactics.
Absorb the pressure as well.
That's right.
But they know that they have to go to Palace, and that's a tough game. So they know that they have to keep it rolling. You know what I mean? Like they're on a roll. You can't just
Plus, Rodgers will never play a game like that.
No,
Well,
And-
that's what I'm saying. Can we say that Brendan Rodgers is one-dimensional?
Well, that's it. Attack.
People say that Jose Mourinho is one-dimensional because he's a very defensive-minded
Yeah,
coach.
yeah.
Can we say that Brendan Rodgers is one-dimensional because when you're faced with a side like that, there was no plan B.
No, but
no plan B.
no. Not at all.
You're right about that, but Liverpool have got to this position playing the way that they were.
That's exactly-
so.
'cause
So
teams have allowed
you
them
can't-
to.
If they change and then they lose, you question why he changed. So you stick to what you know.
Having said that, Brendan Rodgers would have watched that game against Atletico last week and he would have seen the team sheet that
Yeah.
Chelsea put out. As soon as you saw that team sheet, you knew that you were going to have 7 or 8 players behind the ball and have Demba Ba, Schürrle breaking you on the counter.
Well,
so how do you counteract that?
What? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What's a way you can break down a 10-man box? Like as an attacking team, how can you break that down? Do you put balls in? Do you look for the gaps? How do you play it?
Sending a message out to your captain to say stop taking pot shots from outside the box will be the first thing I'd do because you're right.
But
That's exactly what Steven Gerrard
But what are you meant
did.
to do? Like you can't. There's no holes. There's no gaps. You put
Well,
crosses in. What do you do?
Well, we were talking about it that night about whether Sturridge was going to come on early or whether he was going to come on late. Sturridge and Suarez, Coutinho, Sterling, they've been passing the ball around. They've been able to unlock defenses all season.
Against teams that's given them space. They've had no space in this game.
But that's how you're going to unlock a side that is so defensive minded.
But
Liverpool aren't built. They don't have that target man up front to be able to put balls into the box.
Chelsea sat that far deep that you put a ball through, and then the keeper's got the ball. There's not enough gap to run in behind. They made it so you couldn't run in behind. That first goal was a slip. Unlucky. The second goal, I don't even count that second goal. Liverpool put every player. I'm surprised the keeper wasn't up for that last play. That's how much they wanted to go for that. So
Reminiscent of Torres against Barcelona.
it was just unlucky, but I will say that there's still 3 games to go. The title race is not over. They haven't lost.
Well, speaking of the title race, you had Manchester City play against Crystal Palace after that game. Manchester City needed to win this game to capitalise on Liverpool's dropped points. They were away to Crystal Palace, who had won 5 of their last Premier League games, including a home win to Chelsea. Arguably the informed side of the Premier League up until this point. City came away with a 2-0 win.
It was definitely a reality check for Crystal Palace. They was definitely out of their depth in this game. City just killed them from minute 1. More hungry, having Toure back, having that drive from midfield. Having Toure driving from midfield is crucial for this team.
2 things that went against Crystal Palace in that game. One is they're versing Manchester City with pretty much a full-strength lineup.
Barring Silva.
And 2, just before kickoff, they found out that Liverpool lost. So the Man City players...
You could see that when the players were coming out of the tunnel, all the City players were running on the field. They just couldn't wait to get out there to get the job done.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you had Toure starting.
City won easily in the end.
Who wins the league? It's a 3-horse race now. It's wide open all over again with 2 weeks to go.
This weekend for me is crucial. City away to Everton, Palace at home to Liverpool.
Yeah, but Manchester City's goal difference is just... Unless Liverpool can do the job at Crystal Palace and win 8-0.
Well, City needs to beat Everton.
Everton could literally hand
Liverpool
the keys to the
But
result.
with Everton missing Baines, Barry...
It's
Morales,
unlikely.
And Jagielka. It looks difficult, but they've still got players that can come in and do a job.
Well, there's talk that Baines is going to be right for the game. Like you said, Morales is out for the season. Gareth Barry on loan from Manchester City, which means he's eligible to play.
And he's been crucial.
He has been crucial.
If Everton come out with a weaker team than they could field, we know that.
They'll be rooting for the
Yeah,
City
we
boys.
know that they're just going through the motions. I think their Champions League dreams are over as well.
They've beaten...
It's in Arsenal's hands. They just
Arsenal.
need to win one more game, and they've got the 4th spot. So
Yeah.
Everton really.
They've come off the boil since that 3-0 Arsenal win.
So despite the poor record that City have at Goodison, you see City...
There's too
winning
much to
this
play
game.
for City. There's too much at stake.
Especially now. It's alive again.
Because I can't see him dropping points here.
Nah,
I can't see him dropping
City
points.
win.
Well, that brings us to the end of our podcast. But first, just wanted to give a shout out to young Ruben Follows, who scored a hat-trick at the weekend for Bell North Under-6s. It was his first ever football game. So, A-League clubs, remember that name. Send us your feedback via our Facebook page, The Nutmeg Theory, or tweet us at The Nutmeg Theory. That's it from me, Rocky, Ilija, Jono. Till next week.